Vertical integration can be a great thing, but you have to realize at what point, if you develop it yourself, your solution might be mediocre, whereas you can partner with another person that's developing state-of-the-art solution.
Absolutely.
And together you can deliver like the best results out there.
Welcome to another episode of The Prosper Brief. I'm your host, Jeremiah Wynn, and today we have two very special guests. We're here at Prosper Forum. To my left, we have Shafiei. She is the president and the CEO of DSA Signage. And to her left, we have Chmouni, who is the founder and the CEO of Neon Screens. I'm glad to have you guys here. We're going to be talking about AI. We're going to talk about menus and signs. But first, how has your experience at Prosper Forum been so far?
So far, it's been really great. I love that it's not a typical trade show format. Mm-hmm. And I think the caliber of the speakers I've seen are beyond any other event that I've attended this year. So great job.
I love to hear that.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the relationships and the depth of the connections that you kind of get to chat with people without really like being in like sales mode and talking to in a booth setting, I think is really cool, where you get to kind of really go deep, understand their problems and try to present solutions.
And that's what I love about podcasting, because I get to sit down with some incredible people and learn more about them. So, Eli, I've had multiple conversations with Sho, but this is my first time meeting you. So tell us about what you do and about Neon.
Yeah, so I'm the founder and CEO of Neon. Started the company about 4.5 years ago, really to simplify signage and messaging for retail and restaurants. So we really provide restaurants and hospitality brands with digital menu boards that are really for interior of the store, drive-thrus, and back of the house messaging for the employees.
Okay, that's great. And then how did you two get connected?
Well, as a signage provider, we're always looking for good partners. And part of delivering a wholesome solution is having not just the hardware, but also the content and software that goes along with it.
Yeah.
So we worked with a bunch of brands. We even contemplated doing it in-house. Yeah. Then we met Eli and the Neon team and went through their demo. And hands down, it was one of the easiest ones we had worked with. Wow. So it was a simple solution. Our values were aligned. We were targeting the same clients, and at a high level, the customer success being the central point was the key thing for both of us. So it was just a natural partnership.
So tell us more about your role at DSA Signage and what DSA Signage does.
So I'm the president and CEO. I took over the company about 6 years ago, but DSA is about 50 years old.
Oh, wow.
And we serve a lot of different industries in creating digital and static visual displays. Mm-hmm. But for the past 20 plus years, we've been focusing on the hospitality and primarily on drive-thru solutions, anywhere from a menu board all the way to like a clearance bar or a baller. Yeah. And then we do iconic things like the Space Needle in Seattle and Sears Tower in Chicago. Wow. So it's very vast. For the purposes of this podcast, I think we're going to focus on our expertise when it comes to digital and static signage for the hospitality.
Okay. It's interesting because you said your company is 50 years old, right?
Yes.
So signage 50 years ago is so much different than it is now. What do you think is like the biggest difference between then and now? And I know you didn't work there 50 years ago. But what do you think is the biggest thing that's happened in this industry?
I think some things have remained the same. So it's still primarily used for a marketing and showcasing your brand. Yeah. But how you do it, the technology has evolved significantly.
Absolutely.
When you think 50 years back, everything was printed on film, and there were fluorescent light bulbs that were used to light them up. Yeah. That was signage. Yeah. Or you had neon signs, which you still see quite a bit of it in Vegas.
Yeah.
And I don't mean neon signs, but neon signs. But, you know, gradually fluorescent got replaced with LEDs because they're better for the environment, they last longer, consume a lot less power. And about, I want to say 10 or 15 years ago, digital really became a thing.
Yeah.
Because with traditional print, whether you print on paper, on film, on fabric, on whatever you print, you can't really change it. If you want to make a change, you do need to literally reprint it.
Yeah.
For some industries, that's okay. So if you're a retailer and you want to print a promotional sign that's showcasing your brand ambassador or a model for your retail space, it's perfectly fine to reprint.
Yeah.
But if you're a restaurant and your supply chain, like you have no idea what's happening and you got to change your prices and be dynamic, it doesn't make sense to reprint a menu board every single month.
Exactly.
So having that digital signage and having the content capability, like Eli and Neon offer, it gives the operators the flexibility to change and add promotional items, do seasonal items, do order confirmation. There is so much you can do with a digital screen that you couldn't do with the historical classic signage.
Absolutely. Okay, so Eli, you guys are 4 years old, right? So what do you hope to add to this space, right? Where clearly there's been different signage companies for the last 5+ decades. What do you hope to add to this space now with your company and your what you guys are doing?
I started the company really because I come from an out-of-home advertising space. I've had billboard companies, I've had advertising companies, and when we couldn't find a software solution that was really easy to use for a marketing team to simply plug in without needing an entire engineering team to use it, we developed Neon to really be a simple solution. After we started kind of getting a lot of clients and really understanding the pain points, we start to realize that it's not just about signage, it's about the entire guest experience inside the restaurant. So about 8 months ago, we expanded our platform by adding Neon Music. So now the music that you hear in the store can also be managed from the same platform, where you can really customize the messaging on the screen. You can also create some LTO announcements in between songs to really kind of captivate that. We also added a Neon Wi-Fi solution to help marketing teams really collect data about the guests that are in the store and re-engage them even after they leave the store, right? So we have signage, we have music to engage guests as they're in the store, but how do you engage them after they leave and bring them back? So we're really looking at Neon as an entire guest experience platform, not just as a signage solution. And the more we talk to customers, the more they tell us what they need. And I think understanding the consolidation of a single platform to really help marketing teams like simplify data analysis and targeting better and really optimize their performance is really kind of our core focus.
There's a couple of things that you said there, and I know you guys have some notes that we wanted to discuss, but the optimization of what you guys are doing is so important. And one point that you guys made was like menu optimization and how you guys are using AI in order to reconfigure a menu to pretty much promote one item over another, or talk about, you know, the different changes in the prices. Can you guys go more into detail on how that is happening right now in the space?
I think if you think traditionally how it was done, restaurants would use a graphic designer and they would bring him in, they showcase like what they have. They would take photos of, you know, different dishes, and then they would ask them to put a menu together that maybe had the colors of the brand. And it was all kind of done, not necessarily on paper, but on a screen, like maybe in a PowerPoint, and then that would be showcased in a traditional way, printing it out, showing it to people. And it took a lot of time. It was quite expensive for the brands to do this.
I'm sure.
Whereas, and I'll let Eli talk more about the AI aspect of it, but with digital, it's so much easier to just move things around and see what looks right. You can do focus groups and like quickly put it out there and see which one people prefer. You can analyze data and see if it's in, you know, configuration A versus configuration B, what items do you sell more? Where does the eyeball go? There's a psychology to it.
Absolutely.
But I do think that with AI, you can make it a lot simpler and more cost effective, honestly, for the operators who use it.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people who just like get a screen and put it up and still put like one JPEG on it, that's the wrong use of digital signage, right? I think the way you look at AI is a lot of people in marketing know that sometimes you can go through like a heat map of your website to really analyze what people are looking on your website. I think there's an opportunity to also do that on your menu, where you can really analyze the graphics of your menu, the font size, the spacing between the different items, but really optimizing the left side of the screen to showing different LTOs. We've all seen the Starbucks screens, and recently we worked with a brand called Imagine Movie Theaters. up in Michigan to really optimize their menu to cause an upsell. We work with another brand, Coca-Cola, where at University of Georgia, we took half the screen and promoted some of their energy drinks, and we saw an increase in sales by double month over month.
Wow.
So those are kind of some of the things that you really want to think about digital signage as just beyond just putting a graphic on the screen, but it's really how do you optimize content depending on the day of the week, depending on the time of the day, where maybe you can run happy hour specials. We have a great brand that we work with called Bahia Bowls that every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I believe they run a happy hour special on their smoothies in the middle of the day, and the menu is able to update that. So those are kind of just some of the things where you can really optimize and use AI to not just design the graphics, but also link it to the data that you collect from the POS.
Everything you're saying is just like, well, duh, obviously this makes sense, right? Because we're not spending thousands of dollars to get these graphics made and we got to take it out. Because I remember like back in the day, they had like the sheet that you would put in and it would just be lit up. So that just completely changed the game. So you're using AI. I have a question because I make music. Do you guys use Suno for your AI for your music? Are you guys using any type of AI processing to come up with the sounds for these brands?
Yeah, so in our Neon Music product, we have the capability to actually create announcements where a brand can actually go in, type an announcement that they want, maybe an LTO, choose a voice. And we use a product called 11 Labs.
I use that too.
In order to create some overhead announcements where a brand can really choose the voice, but it really still give some flexibility to a local franchisee to type a message and be able to play that in between, a Taylor Swift song.
Absolutely. That's amazing. I actually just finished doing an audiobook using a voice clone using 11 Labs. The things that you can do with AI is just like
amazing.
Like, and it's in Spanish too. So when she was hearing it, she's like, oh my gosh, that's literally my voice. Yeah. So how are you guys using AI in your workflow right now?
So within our organization, so there's different ways. There is some that we can use for HR, for engineering and design purposes, but marketing team probably uses it the most. Okay. Because there was a time that you had to literally pay an analyst to be there full time and just sit down and do research and write white papers on different things. You can get on any of the AI platforms now and say, okay, what is the biggest challenge like a restaurant operator faces? And address that through your marketing. What about the hotels? Because the challenges of food and beverage at a hotel or an airport might be slightly different than a street operator. So just being able to do that really quickly, honestly, you save on labor. But you also help develop your employee base because the employees that are doing this and using these tools, they're getting mentored and developed for the bigger and better jobs in the future. There's just so many different ways of looking at it, but looking at data. So our supply chain team, they use it to figure out freight charges, the best way to ship, because when you think of a drive-through signage, typically, they go on huge pallets. They can weigh as much as 3,000 to 6,000 pounds, depending on if it's a double drive-through or single drive-through. There's a lot of steel and aluminum in that. So figuring out what is the best route to ship the signage to the client, because once people have spent 15, 20 grand on a drive-through solution, they don't want to spend another 5 grand on shipping. That's the reality of it. So there's just so many use cases for it within our business. But within our signage, again, it goes back to having a partner that uses AI in their solution. So you can be the trendsetter in the industry. So
you just mentioned drive-thrus. And I wanted to touch on just the new thing of AI actually having a voice in these drive-thrus. You guys want to touch on that?
Part of our platform is to continue to add new solutions in order to really optimize marketing approach. So we have a new AI voice solution that's coming out here in Q4 to really help not just in the drive-thru, but also in terms of phone ordering, training your staff, and to really answer questions for customers when they reach out to you. So running a restaurant is already busy enough. So we want to just add one more tool to really help communicate messaging with the customers. And whether that could be either operating hours, that could be either menu options, that could be really menu optimization, whether it's in the drive-thru or inside the restaurant. So that's really what we're working on. It's coming soon in Q4, and you'll get to kind of see the full tutorial of it. You're
going to be saving lives, because I've talked to certain people who they feel so sad because they've been working a long shift and they're doing the drive-thru and somebody's yelling at them and barking at them. I'm sure just taking that off and like letting AI deal with the yelling and the cussing is going to save lives. They're going to come home a lot happier.
Yeah, and it's it's the way I kind of look at it is running a restaurant. There's a lot of different things that happen every single day, right? Especially from a management perspective, or if you're the actual owner, you're dealing anything from maybe a shipment didn't show up for your order of fries to maybe 2 people called off that day.
Yeah.
So I think the ease of communication with the customer is really our focus. So whether someone comes to your Facebook page and they want information, whether someone is chatting with you via text, or whether you through your loyalty app, we just want to make it easy for customers to get information and easier for the restaurant to communicate updated information that they don't have to go to 7 different platforms to really update that.
Absolutely. And that makes so much sense to me, because like when you look at, if you're ordering something online or on DoorDash, you're not having a conversation with the person. You're telling what you want and it's going straight there. So that ease of use is like, I'm actually really looking forward to that in the future. What are you looking forward most in the future, and how AI is going to come in and revolutionize the hospitality industry?
I think the traditional hardware is going to get replaced with smart hardware. I think you're going to see more and more drive-through solutions that might offer camera capability. We've been exploring some touch capability. So you're pulling up next to the menu. So if you don't want to talk, having that option to say, you know, at the beginning, when you pull into a drive-through, they usually ask you, you know, welcome to XYZ. Can I start you off with whatever, a cookie, a drink, what have you? I think that's going to expand into, would you like to order through our AI agent, or would you like to talk to a live person? Because talking to a lot of our clients, one of the things that they mention is the demographics, the different demographics that go to their stores have different expectation. So for example, if my grandmother was going through the drive-through, she may not be as open to the idea of talking to a voice-activated AI and ordering. Whereas, you know, if you're a Gen Z, you're loving that experience. It's just so cool. Or the touch screen, it might be good for some people and it might be frustrating for some people. They don't want to keep on extending their arm out. They can barely even reach the screen. But having those abilities, having fully automated drive-throughs where you even have the payment system out there and they can just pay and go and just pick it up. I think those are all coming. Now, does it make sense for every brand? I don't think so. I think depending on who you are, just like digital doesn't make sense for every brand. You have brands like In-N-Out, one of the most successful brands out there, but the reality is their menu is like 3 items and never changes, and they hardly ever change their prices. They don't need it. But so many other brands do need that. They don't have a 2-mile long line standing outside. So there are people out there with tablets. But it is changing. And if we don't change with it, we're going to lose the game.
And do you hope for DSA Signage to be a pioneer in this space, to where you guys are at the forefront in the industry? You guys are pushing the needle, moving things forward. Is that where you guys see you guys going?
Vertical integration can be a great thing, but you have to realize at what point, if you develop it yourself, your solution might be mediocre, whereas you can partner with another person that's developing state-of-the-art solution.
Absolutely.
And together you can deliver like the best results out there. And I think that's why relationships make sense.
And that seems so obvious, right? Because anybody who you're developing, they're learning from you. So now you get to have a completely different outside voice and outside thought that can come in and just provide you guys with something angles that you guys weren't even considering in the before.
Absolutely.
And have you already seen that happening a lot, where you're just able to come with fresh new ideas?
And I think it goes both ways, right? So we're a very core software company. We don't want to get into the hardware space. We don't understand the hardware space. There's a lot of different components that are part of that. Anything from, you know, manufacturing to design to shipping. That's a whole different beast that we kind of don't want to get into. And this is kind of why this relationship makes sense, where you can have a partner that you can really depend on. And then you know that they perform on the same level of like customer success and customer dedication that you do. And I think that's kind of really what we aspire for, is like, let's kind of focus on really what we're good at, which is developing great software platforms. And let's really partner with partners that really focus on what they're really good at, which is hardware solutions. So, you know, from our side, the AI game. I know there's a lot of buzz and there's a lot of tools out there.
Yeah.
What really, really excites us is how do you really consolidate data across all your locations?
Oh.
It's pretty easy to operate maybe if you have 3 stores, 5 stores, but once you start having a master franchisee relation and you have 50 stores, 100 stores, how do you collect data across all these stores? How do you optimize your marketing to really kind of activate your in-store and your drive-thru experience where, 70% of typical transactions are happening from drive-thrus after COVID. So how do you really kind of take advantage of that screen, show different LTOs, be able to offer upsell opportunities to really have that ROI on that initial investment from a hardware perspective, and then really start optimizing that content moving forward.
Absolutely. And where do you see Neon in like the next 5 to 10 years?
That's a good question. 10 years is a far, I feel it's like a board meeting. So 10 years is way in the future. But I would say over the next 5 years, we have definitely plans of developing about 5 to 6 new products that really kind of optimize marketing and operations in one platform. I think the part that, if you look at Google Work Suite, right, you have Gmail, you have Calendar, you have Drive, all under the same. If you look at Zoho, if you look at Odoo, there's like a lot of these platforms that's consolidation because it allows you to see data all from the same place. We're really kind of aiming at creating that single platform for restaurant owners to manage their operations and marketing from a single platform. And I feel we have a path for that over the next 5 years, especially if we keep listening to our customers and listening to their needs and building from there.
It's been so great talking to you guys. We're at Prosper Forum, and I know there's so many people you guys have been connecting with. We're halfway through. What is the next thing you guys are hoping to get out of this weekend?
I think we've had some great one-on-one conversations, and I think what Eli mentioned was really important. It wasn't anything salesy or pushy or sleazy at all. Yeah. It's been really good conversations, like talking about technology, talking about the future. And for me personally, being able to connect with a couple of tech executives at the brand level, at the operations level, and not just validating what we think is coming next, but asking them, what is your pain point? So I've sent a list actually to David Joe of opinions that I want to gather from some other folks. So I'm looking forward to meeting some other folks at those brands and figuring out, are they seeing the same things that we are seeing in the marketplace? Because the more you talk to people, the more accurate the data you have, and the data that you're gathering at places like this throughout those conversations are guiding our development for the future. So I'm looking forward to hearing that feedback.
That's great. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, over the last 2 days and now, like for today and tomorrow, I think the part that was exciting is seeing a lot of our client brands here. So, for example, we saw Costa Vida, we saw CEC Entertainment. We work with one of their brands.
David's awesome.
Peter Piper Pizza, but typically we work maybe with the CMO or the CTO or the CIO. So to be able to also connect with the CEO or the presidents here and be like, this is how we're actually serving your brand, and just kind of put a face to the name of like who Neon is. I think that's super exciting to really meet more people from their team and to really say like, well, your team is doing this is what we're helping them with. And I think that's really the exciting part is kind of expanding the relationship with existing clients. And because we've had really good relationships over the last 4 years, the introductions that we're getting for future brands and other connections, again, from casual social events over a drink, that's always been like super casual and nice, where it's not like, let me present to you. And it's more of like, let me tell you how we can help.
Awesome. Well, it's so good to have you guys here. I'm grateful that you guys came and graced the podcast stage.
Thanks for having us.
Well, thanks for having us. Thanks for asking.
We'll see you guys next time on the Prosper Brief.